So in this video, I'm going to share on Nanyang Primary School Primary 3 Mathematics Term 1 weighted assessment. So this will be a very good revision for you to do before the weighted assessment. So there's two ways that you can go through this video. Number one is that you can go through this on your own. The link of this math exam is in the description. So it takes around 45 minutes. If you finish fast, then pretty good. The other way is that I'm going to go through one question at a time. So you can see the question and then work it on your own. So have a piece and paper ready and then just do your workings and make sure you have the answers as well so that you can see whether your answers is correct, and if it's wrong then you know why from this video. All right, so you can pause this video if you want to go through the whole weighted assessment practice paper, or you can just go through with the first question if you're done. Okay, let's go through the first question. So the first question, let's read it. The digit 5 of a number is in the hundreds place. All right. So which of one of the following is the number? Okay. So let's go through the question before looking at the answers. Let's understand what this whole thing means. So there's this digit 5. So okay, this digit 5 of a number, so it can be any of this number, right? Okay, is in the hundreds place. So now let's see what does hundreds place means, right? If we were to just say what is 100, okay, if it's 100, it will look something like this, right? So if I have my digit 5 at my 100 place, how will it look like? So if I were to say 500, how will it look like, right? Then that means it will look like this, 500. Okay, so now with this we have a good sense of how our answer should look like. So let's go through one by one. Okay, so the first one is 1385, 1385. Okay, so we know there is this 5 over here, the digit 5. Okay, so what place is it in? If your answer is unit, or I would say ones, right? Then correct. But is it in the hundreds place? No, it's not. So it shouldn't be number one. Okay, let's go through number two. It says here 3851 or 3851. So you also can see the digit 5, but what place is it? Is it in the hundreds place or is it in the tens place? The answer is correct. The answer is tens, right? The tens place. So, but the thing is it in the hundreds place? No. Then that means it shouldn't be number two. Okay. So let's move on to the third answer. Let's see if the third answer is the correct answer. So it says here 5,813. So we know there is a digit 5 over here. But is it in the hundreds place? No, no, it's not. So this is wrong. And what place is this in this? What place is this digit 5 in this 5,813 number? It should be the thousands place, right? Okay, so because when we pronounce the number is 5,000. Okay, so out of this, what do you think the answer is, right? The answer should be number four. Okay, why is it number four? Because if we were to go to the number 8,531, so we see that there is the 500 5 digit in the hundreds place, because we said 531. So that means the answer is number 4, as what you see over here. So this should be number 4. Great. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question number 2. So if you want to pause this video to try it out on your own, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to go through number 2. Okay, let's read this question. So the question says here, what is 1,000 more than 5,689? Okay, so Do you understand the question? So let me help you with this if you have some troubles understanding. So you know what the thousand is? Pretty straightforward, right? You know what's 1000? You know what this number? 5689. Some of you might be wondering, what is this? More than, right? So more than is essentially, if you were to just put your notes, then more than is just plus. It's an add. Okay, so essentially what this looks like is, what is 1000 plus 5689? So let's work this out, right? So let's put here 1000 and plus 5689. That's what I see over here. Okay, so let's go through, right? So 0 plus 9 equal to 9. 0 plus 8 is equal to 8. 0 plus 6 equal to 6. And the last thing is 1 plus 5. So what's 1 plus 5? 6. So it's 6689. So with this, can we see where the correct answer is? Can you see 6689? If you say it is number 4, you are correct. So this should be number 4. So just take note that if you see the word more than, words more than, just put a plus, right? And then you can see that it's 1000 plus 5689, and then you can do your workings over here to see the correct answer. All right, that's it. All right, let's move on to the next question. Okay, so once you see these kind of questions, read it slowly. So let's go through the question itself and we go through line by line. So there were 4 cards as shown below. So there's card A, card B, card C, and card D. Correct. 4 shown below. Okay, great. And then Janice picked 2 of the cards over here. So 2 cards. It can be card A, card B, or it can be card C and card D. Okay. Now, the next one is where we need to understand a bit more. So the difference between the numbers on the 2 cards was 3000. Okay, so what does this mean? So let's break it down. So let's break it down on what the difference means, right? So the difference between the numbers. Okay, so what this means is essentially, let's say we have a number 3 and the number 2. So what is the difference? Difference means 3 minus 2. Okay, so if you see the word difference, okay, you can write it down. Difference means minus, right? Between the two numbers. So you usually have the difference between the two numbers. So 3 minus 2. And what is the difference between the two numbers 3 and 2, or 3 minus 2? It is 1. Okay, so difference means what is the answer to two numbers minusing each other. That's it. Okay, so that is what this whole sentence means. Okay, so basically there's two numbers that we need to figure out, that if we minus each other, it will give us 3000, right? So 3000 should be the answer in this equation over here. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, which two cards, so which two numbers gives us 3000? Okay, so we can go through all the different numbers: 8564, 3564, 5564, and 5264 over here. Okay, so most of the time you must understand where the 3000 is, right? That's what you see over here. So there is one number minus another number equal to 3000. Okay, so in this case, where can we in a way have a better understanding of what the two numbers should be, right? So let's, since this is a 3000 or a 1000 place number, so it's a 1000 place number, so let's make it simpler for us. So that means we only care about the digit at the front with the 3 digits at the back. So meaning this should be at the front over here. So means, right, we only care about this front number over here. I call it the front number by the number at the 1000 place. Okay, so you have 8 and 3, you have 5 and 5. Okay, so roughly you see that the only way that you can have 3000 or the number 3 is either you have 8 minus 5. Okay, so you see 8 minus 5 equal to 3, right? That's how you see it, right? So essentially you have 8, 3, you have 8, 3, 5, and 5. Okay, so that means it cannot be card D, right? Because if you were to go through this, it's like if we have 5 minus 3, right? 5 minus 3, then it's equal to 2, then that means cannot, right? We 8 minus 3 also cannot because it's 5 as well. So that means it's either card A or card C or card D. Okay, that's what you see over here. Okay, now the thing is that if you know there is card A, right, then right, you see that you can already eliminate the different options, which is B and 3 and 4. So the next part is, it says here that it's either A and B or A and C. So A and B is 8 minus 3, which is 5. That means this is not exactly the correct answer as what you see over here. And essentially, it should be the answer A and C as what you see over here, right? So that is like a quick hack in order for you to actually get the answer. But to actually do the whole equation is where you put the number. Since card B cannot be the answer, then let's check A and C. So A and C, right? A is 8564 minus card C 5564. So let's do that. Let's try 8564 minus 5564. Okay, so if we do our workings over here, 8564 minus 5564. Okay, so 4 minus 4 is equal to 0. Same number, if you minus each other, then it becomes 0. 5 minus 5 equal to 0. Now 8 minus 5 equal to 3000. And that's why this is card A and card C, and that's where you get 3000, right? So you might be thinking, what about card A and card D? Yep, you can do that as well. So you can just remove this, right? And then you put, instead of 5564, then it should be 5264. And let's see if we still get 3000. Okay, so let's put 5264, right? So 5264. Okay, so let's minus one by one. 4 minus 4 equal to 0. 6 minus 6 is equal to 0. Now we have 5 minus 2. What is the answer for that? 5 minus 2 is 3. And lastly, 8 minus 5 is 3. So with this card D over here, is the answer 3000? Nope, it's 3300. And that's why card A and D cannot be the answer, right? Card A and D cannot be the answer as well. So now it's only card A and C. And that's why the answer is number 2, as what you see over here. All right. Okay, so you just need to understand the question first. So difference between two numbers means one number minus another number, and the answer should be, in this case, 3000. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Question number 4 over here. All right. Okay, so question number 4, write the following in numerals. So you can pause this video and try it out on your own. Or if you are done, then let's carry on as well. Okay, so what do you mean by numerals over here? That means you just need to put in the number from the words that you see over here. So if I were to say 1, then it should be number 1. If I were to put 21, then it should be 21. So numerals means this thing over here. So we convert English to numbers. That's what numerals means. Okay, now let's go through the first one. So it says here 9000. So what you can do is actually, you can literally just write down 9000. Okay, so 9000 over here. Okay, and then here it says here the next one is 700. Okay, so that's why we put 700 as well. And then lastly, we can put here 12, right? So if you were to think of it as like addition, you can add them as well, right? So at the same time, if you know the first number is 9,000, then you just put here, another way is you put here 9, and then you put underscore, underscore, underscore. So you know 9,000 has 3 digits behind them. 1,000 means there is 3 digits behind them. So you put 700. So 700 means you put 7 over here. And then lastly, you have 12. Then you put 1 and 2 because 12 is 1 and 2. So the answer should be 9712. That's what you see over here. All right. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. 4,000. So you put 4,000 again. Right. 600, 600, and then 4. Okay. So you plus them together. Okay. So same thing. 4,000. You put a 4 over here with the numbers, or you put underscore at the bottom as well. 600, you put 6 at the 6th place, which is behind the 1,000 place. But now you have a 4. How do we do that, right? So is there in the any numbers in the tens place? If you're not sure, then no need to put. So you just put 4 lah. So where is 4? 4 should be in the units or the ones place, right? And since there isn't any number in the tens place, we will just put 0. So if you were to just follow the equation at the top, right, you probably can get the answer itself. But if you were to, just read it, this should be the answer. 4604. So always remember, when you have 1,000, then you should have a clear idea on what are the digits that you need to do. So if they never say any tens place words over here, then you just put 0 as what you see over here. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, let's move on to question number 5. So question number 5, right? If you want to do this on your own, pause this video. Otherwise, let's continue on. Okay, it says here, I am a 4-digit even number formed with digits 2, 4, 5, and 8, right? Okay, so before we go through the next line, let's break down this first line over here. So there's a couple of things, right? Number one, it says here 4-digit. So what does 4-digit means? 4-digit means you have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You have 4 digits. That's what you see. So it can be, for example, 1,000, or it can be 4,000, right? So 4 digits is basically you have 4 numbers, and usually in the thousands place as well. Okay, so let's ignore this first. 4-digit, that's what I say over here. And then it says here even number. So what does even number means? Even number means it can be divided by 2. So for example, if you have 2,000 over here, then this can be divided by 2, right? Means if we divided, so divide by 2, okay, so 2,000 divided by 2 is essentially 1,000, for example, right? Okay, so pretty simple as what you see over here, right? Okay, so this is formed with the digits 2, 4, 5, 8. Okay, so that means the number can be any number that is using the digits 2, 4, 5, 8. It says here, I am a number between 2,600 and 2,900. Okay, so what number am I? Okay, so we need to have a bit of way to understand what the number should be. Okay, so the first thing to understand, so this is a bit of, I would say, a tricky question, right? So 2,600 and 2,900. So if you were to look like this, so the number should be in between 2,600 and 2,900 as well, right? So it can be 2,700, 2,800, or any other numbers in between, right? Okay, so this is just an example over here. So can it be less than 2,600? No. So it cannot be 2,500 or below. Can it be more than 2,900? Cannot, right? It must be less than 2,900. So in between, right? So this is the number that we are looking for. Okay, what is the number in between? Okay, so with this, we can have a good sense that can it be a 3,000 number? Okay, so let's put here. Can it be a 4,000 number? Right? No, cannot, because it's in between 2. So essentially, it's only the range between 2,600 2,900. So the first number should be 2, as what you see over here. Okay, So the next part, so we remove 2, so no more 2 already. Okay, the next part is 6 and 9. So we can ignore the number 2 actually, and then we just need to understand it should be in between the next number, which is 600 to 900, as what you see over here. Okay, right. So to just give you a sense, what number is in between 6 and 9, right? So if we break it down, what is the numbers in between 6 and 9? 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right. So now we know what's the second number. It should be in between 6 to 9. So now let's compare these numbers, right? Let's compare these numbers to these numbers over here. Okay. So is there a same number over here? If your answer is number 8 over here, right? Then you're right. So 8 over here, that's what you see over here, should be the next number because it's in between 6 and 9, or 2600 and 2900. So then that should be the next number, which is 2800, as what you see over here. Okay, now we have no more number 8s. Okay, the last thing is it 2845 or 2854? Okay, so that means this number should be able to be divided by 2, right? So to just give you a hack, or to give you a secret, is that you should only understand if anything is divided by 2, the last number, so this last number over here, must be even or can be divided by 2. So if you remember, what are numbers that can be divided by 2, right? So it can be 2, can be 4, can be 6, can be 8, right? And then I think that's it, because it's just one number itself, right? So out of these two numbers over here, 4 and 5, which one can be divided by 2, or the numbers that we see over here out of these 4 and 5? So if you say number 4, that's what you see over here, then you are correct. So we have a number 4 at the end. That means once you have no more number 4, then we have the last one, which is number 5. And the number 5 should be over here. All right. So if you were to, like for example, if you have a very big number, 1032, if the last number over here is an even number, it can be divided by 2. If it's 1033, the last number cannot be divided by 2, and that's not an even number. So this is a, wait, okay. So the last number should always be divisible by 2, right? Or an even number. So the answer to this is 2854. That's what you see over here, right? So this is where you have to slowly break down on what are the numbers that you should, in a way, guess in between, right? All right, so let's move on to question number 6. Okay, so that question was a bit tough, right? So this is also a little bit tough as well, but hopefully when I explain, you have a better sense. Okay, you can pause this video to try on your own. Otherwise, I'm going to go through it. All right, so look at the number pattern below. So look at the number pattern below. What is the missing number? Which is this missing number. All right, and then you have a bunch of numbers at the end. Okay, so sometimes it's a bit hard for you to actually answer this, but I actually have a better way to make it easier to answer. What if we were to reverse this? So reverse means I put the last number at the front. So if I were to just put 5381, comma, so this is the last number, then I'll do the same thing, 5081. Okay, and then same, 4781, and then 4481, and then last one, 4181, and you have the missing number over here, like this. Okay, why we do this is because we humans, or I mean in Singapore, we tend to read from right to left or left to right, left to right. So when we see something like this, we are a bit confused, right? But if you were to reverse it, then usually it's easier for us to solve, because when we were to do this pattern, right, when we go like this, it actually can reverse as well because it works the same. Wow, Haris, you're a genius. Yes, I am. Okay, so now with this, let's focus on the numbers that we've written down as what you see over here. Okay, now with this, is it easier for you to solve? Most likely it is, right? So now what we can do is we can understand the pattern. Okay, so from 5381 to 5081, what is the number that's different here? Okay, we don't even care about what's the pattern. We just like, what is the different number, right? So you can see the different number, which is number 3 and number 0, right? So the different number other than the 581 is the 3 and the 0. Okay, so that means there is some difference over here because 3 is a bigger number than 0, right? So if we were to just have 5381 minus 5081, what is the answer to this? So 1 minus 1 is 0, 3, 8 minus 8 is 0, 3, 0, 0. 3 minus 0 is 3, and then 5 minus 5 is 0. Okay, so the answer should be 300. So that means from 5381 to 5081, this is minus 300. Okay, let's see if the next one is also the same, right? So 5081 to 4781. So can we assume that this is also minus 300? Let's try it out again. So 5081. Okay, let me just remove this. 5081 minus 4781. Okay, let's see if it's going to be 300, right? 1 minus 1 equal to 0, right? And then 8 minus 8 equal to 0. So there is 0 minus 7. So we need to take the 10, put over here, and then this will be 4, right? So 10 minus 7 is 300, and 4 minus 4 is 0, which is essentially 300. So we minus 300 here again. So that means if we continue, minus 300, minus 300 as well, right? Minus 300. Okay, so that means the missing number should be 4181 minus 300. All right, so 4181 minus 300. Okay, so we know the last two is always 81 because it's always the same numbers at the tens and the ones or units place. Now the question is, what is 1 minus 3, right? So we bring, so 3 bring 1, so 11 minus 3 is 8, and then 3 minus nothing is 3. So the answer should be 3881. So the answer should be 3881, right? Sorry, not 3888. So double check your answer as well, right? 3881 as what you see over here. So that means the reverse is basically, instead of minus, what's the reverse of minus? What is the opposite of minus? Plus, right? So that means if I plus 300 over here, it gives us 4181. If I plus 300 over here, 4484, so forth and so on. So if you are confused on how to do this kind of pattern, then you just reverse it or make it opposite. So the last one, go to the first number, and then you can slowly figure out. Because in Singapore, we solve problems or solve math equations from left to right. So as much as possible, we do that as well. As what you see over here. All right. Okay, you can pause this video to get this answer. And then last one over here. Okay, so next question. Jane had 1,352 marbles. Whoops, 1,352 marbles. City had 1,515 marbles more than Jane. How many marbles did Jane and City have all together? Okay, so we can do this model. Forgot what is it called, but basically you have Jane, right? So Jane over here has 1,352 marbles, and then you have City over here. So it says here more than. So more than means, if you remember plus, right? Plus, right? So City plus Jane. So Jane is what? 1,352. 1,352, right? So in this case, City has the same number of marbles, 1,352, right? And then more than means plus, so plus an addition of 1,005. Okay, it's actually a lot longer as what you see over here, right? So this should be 1,515 as what you see here. So how many marbles do all of them have together? So how many marbles do they have together? Okay, so in this case, that means we have 1, 3, 5, 2 for city as well. Okay, so how do we get all together? So if you were to just add all of that, so you can say Jane is 1, 3, 5, 2, right? Plus 1, 3, 5, 2 plus 1, 5, 1, 5. And what is it, right? So we can slowly break this down. Okay, so what we can do is we can just add 1, 3, 5, 2 plus 1, 3, 5, 2, right? If you can add all of them together, great. So let's go through the workings of 1, 3, 5, 2 plus 1, 3, 5, 2. All right, 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. 5 plus 5 is 10. So 0, put 1 over here. So 3 plus 3 is equal to 6 plus 1, 7. And 1 plus 1 equal to 2. So this should be 2704. And then you can plus 1515. Not my bus number. So you have 2704. Okay. Plus 1515. Okay. So 4 plus 5. Right. 4 plus 5 is equal to 9. 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. 7 plus 5 equal to 12. 2. Put 1 over here. 2 plus 1 equal to 3. Plus 1 over here, which equal to 4. So the answer to this is 4219. And all together, we have 4219. So the answer is 4219. Okay, so make sure you understand the question. When you see more than, like I said before, put a plus sign. So you know, like city had 151 plus Jane. So Jane is like 1352. So if you were to do the building model over here, then this is how it looks like. So you just add them together. Then you can add step by step as well. Don't need to add all together three, like just step by step, easier for you as well. Okay, right, great. So the answer is 4219. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. So this is a bit tricky, but I think you probably can solve this lot. So Jenny wants to buy lunch from a food court. She plans to buy a meal that includes what is this? One main dish, one soup and drink. Okay, where is this main dish? All right, main dish over here. What is this soup? The soup is over here. What is the drink? The drink is over here. Okay, how many different ways can Jenny buy her lunch? So what is different way? So different way means like if I have A, B, and C, that means I can do A, B, and D, for example. So these are different ways, right? For example, okay. So if you have seen these kind of questions before, then you know how to solve it, right? So essentially what you need to do is to just write down all the different ways on how Jenny can buy her lunch, right? Okay, so before we actually write down all of the different ways, we're gonna make it simple, right? So how do we make it simple? We're gonna use this thing called acronyms, right? So English, what is acronym? I don't know. So when you say WTF, what does WTF means? World Trading Foundation. No lah. So basically, you have the first letter in this, for example, main dish, and we're gonna put NL. So that's acronyms, shortcuts to better remember a sentence or a word. Right? In this case, it's a food word over here. So nasi lemak is NL. Fried noodles is FN. Chicken soup is CS. Counter Strike. I don't know if you guys are still playing Counter Strike. Vegetable soup VS, right? Who versus who, right? Tea is T, coffee is C, right? So now you have acronyms that you have created over here so that you don't have to write every single thing down, right? Okay, that's what you see over here. So now let's do a very simple way, right? So in this, we need to combine one main dish, one soup, and one drink. So essentially, this is one way: chicken soup and tea. So nasi lemak, chicken soup, and tea. So you can write down NL, right? And so the first way, we just put first way is NL plus CS plus T. Okay, so that's one way. Second way is the next one, right? Which you can see fried noodles, vegetable soup, and coffee. So that's the next way, right? So FN plus VS plus C, right? That's the second way. Okay. So now it's easy. You don't have to write down everything, right? So this is how it looks like. You kind of have to write down NL means nasi lemak, FN means fried noodles, chicken soup, CS means chicken soup lah. So you write those down so that it's easier for the person to mark to understand what this whole thing means, right? Okay. So now you have two ways. Is that the only way? Right? No, right? So the third way is that we can change the soup, right? Just change the soup. So in your first way over here, right? Your first way over here, we will just change the middle part. That's what you see over here. So you have NL plus. So instead of chicken soup over here, we will use vegetable soup, right? So then we just put here VS plus, then same thing, T, right? Number four, right? Fourth way is fried noodles plus, this is not vegetable soup anymore. This should be chicken soup plus C, right? So we're going to change the middle part only, okay? And now the last one is if I were to put the fifth way, which is we're going to change it to the drinks. That's what you see over here, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to change, so NL, oops, okay, just put NL plus. So we're going to get from the first one as well, CS plus, instead of tea we have coffee. So number six, this should be fried noodles plus, then this should be from the first one again, VS plus T. That's what you see over here. Okay. So essentially, this is how you get. Oh wait, is there another one? Right. So if you already done the soup, you already done the drink. How about the main dish? Last one. So we go from the first combination as what you see over here, but change again. So this is like we call it your base, right? Your main one. So what we can do is we can write this down. We can put here as Fn. So we're going to change the first one, right? We're going to change the first one. So Fn plus CS plus T. And the eighth one should be nasi lemak plus vegetable soup plus coffee. So essentially, you common mistake is you probably stop at six, but actually you have eight ways of doing this, right? So this is how essentially you write down, and now the answer don't have answer, but answer is you have eight ways to do this, right? So you just write down all the combination. It's what you see over here. Okay, so make sure you only change one part of the menu first. So one part means you only change the soup, or you need to change the drink, or you need to change the main dish from your, you call it this base over here. All right, so this is a bit tricky because you might miss out one combination. So this should be soup different, this should be drink different, and this should be main dish different, right? Okay, so this is the base, and then you change accordingly as well, right? As we see over here. All right. Okay, so now the last question for question 9. Show your working clearly and write your answers in the spaces provided. Okay, so this is the last question for your weighted assessment. Okay, so there were 3,390 people at the Singapore Zoo on a Friday. 1,900 or 1,900 of them were adults. How many children were there at the Singapore Zoo? So let's do that first, okay? So let's do the model. Okay, pretty straightforward. So we have this model, right? So essentially we have we have 3,390. 3,390. So this is a Friday, as what you see over here. So Friday, right? 3,390 people on Singapore Zoo. A lot. Okay, and 1,900 of them were adults. So maybe in the middle over here, this is your adults. Okay, and these adults over here is 1,900. That's what you see over here. Okay, so how many children? So there are adult and children. So what is this number over here? Okay, so essentially what you can do for question A, right? You can put question A over here. Is essentially we get the children is, how do we do it? Right? So we get the total number of people minus the adults. Okay, so essentially, so children, okay, we can put is equal to total people minus adults, adults, right? Okay. So what's the total people? So total people, we can write here lah. Total people, right, which is 3,390 minus what's the adults? 1,900, as what you see over here. Okay, so I'm gonna share with you a little hack, right? So 1,900 is in a way is very close to 2,000, right? Okay, and it's simpler to minus 3,390 minus 2,000, right? Essentially, because you probably know the answer to that. Okay, so usually what I'll do is that 1,900. This is like a hack for like simple calculation is essentially is 3,090 minus 2,000 plus 100. Okay, because what is 1,900, right? 1,900 is essentially 2,000 minus 100, correct or not? Right? So it's simpler for you to minus 2,000 because like 3,390 minus 2,000 is just 3 minus 2, right? So essentially, you can write down. So it will be 3,390. If you want to work it out, can also, right? Minus 2,000. Then this should be essentially, you probably know, 1,390. Okay? Because all of the other numbers is minusing off 0. So you just put the same number. So you put here 1,390 as far as you and then plus 100, and this is equal to 1,490. Hack of the day, right? Because that's how I usually calculate when it's very close to this, right? So 1,900 is essentially, so 1,900 is equal to 2,000 minus 100. Okay, so it's simpler for you to minus off. Let me know if this is an easier way to minus off stuff. Otherwise, you can also try to do the normal way, where which is 3,900, sorry, 3,390 minus 1,900, and then you just calculate lah. So 090, so 3 minus 9 cannot, so you put 1 from the 3, so this should be 2. So 30 minus 9 is 4, and 2 minus 1 is 1, so 1,490. Okay, that's what you see over here. Okay, so that's how I do my mental calculations. Okay, so the answer for A should be 1,490. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so now the next one is there were 685 fewer people at, so I'm reading the second question. There were 685 fewer people at Singapore Zoo on Friday than Saturday. How many people were there on Saturday? Okay, so using the models again, what you can do is let's go to B over here. B. Okay, so there were 685 fewer people at Singapore Zoo. So what is fewer people? Right? So fewer people means, if I were to write here down or visualize for you, draw for you, basically Friday is 3,390, right? Okay, and then you have Saturday over here. So fewer means what? More or less? Less, right? So we roughly have fewer than 3,390. We don't know what the number is, question mark. But the fewer is how many? I've got the number 685, right? So this means fewer, right? We have question mark. So this is 665, right? 685, sorry, 685. So essentially there are fewer. Okay, so if I were to, there was 6 fewer on Friday than Saturday. Whoops. So this is not so this is the opposite. There were fewer people on Friday than Saturday. That means what? Saturday bigger or Friday smaller, right? Saturday is bigger, Friday is smaller. Okay, and then the number here is not here, so we are wondering what is Saturday, and we know that Friday is 3,390. That's what you see over here. Okay, so fewer means Which one? So if I were to say Friday fewer than, sorry, Saturday, that means which one has the bigger number? Saturday, right? So that's where when you draw the block, you should have the Saturday longer than Friday. That's what you see over here. So we want to know what is the Saturday number. That's what you see over here. So there were 685 fewer at Singapore Zoo on Friday than Saturday. So fewer people, right, on Friday. So that means Friday has a smaller number, right? So this is how you read lah. So when it says fewer something something on Friday, then that means Friday is a smaller number, right? And now we need to know what is Saturday, right? So how many people were there on Saturday? So if you draw out this pretty well, then the only way is Saturday is equal to Friday plus 685, right? And then you can put 3390 plus 685, and in this case, right, is you can manually 3390 then plus 685. So sorry, not here. So make sure you put the numbers correctly. 685, that's what I see here. So 0 plus 5 is 5, 9 plus 8 is 7. So 9 plus 8 is 17. Put a 1 over here. 3 plus 6 is 9, but you have a 1. So that means it's a 10. And then 1 over here. 1 plus 3 is 4. So 4075. In this case, over here. So the answer for B is 4075. Okay? And that is it for this whole thing, right? So in this whole video is roughly around 45 minutes. So in the end, after explaining and also going through, this should be enough time for you to finish this whole paper as what you see over here. Okay? So I have the answer. Oops. I have all the answers to this link in the description if you want to know the answers, right? So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want more of this kind of videos, subscribe down below and comment down what other papers you want me to go through as well. All right, that's it. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.